Because I think one of the biggest problems now is that Putin is so obsessed with getting the war on a decent footing that he's micromanaging every single bit. Apparently, that's what people say, and that's actually being more of an Achilles heel to the direction of the war for Russia than is helping.
Well, the best commanders, whether that's a civilian commander like the president or whatever, or minister of defense, or uniform commander, they will have invested in the development of their subordinate leaders. They know who they can trust. They know who they can count on, who needs more help, who doesn't need more help, because you want to decentralize to get the fastest, best decisions as opportunities present themselves. But you still are responsible for understanding what the hell's going on out there. And throughout history, different leaders have had different methods for ensuring they had a feel, either through personal visits or talking to specific people to be confident. Now, so much of what went wrong in the beginning for Russia, in the beginning of the large-scale invasion, was the corruption had created a situation where there was not accurate reporting. Number two, a lot of the equipment was obviously not ready. And equipment that had been in storage turned out to be unprepared, unready, even though the ministry had been paying for contractors to do all this stuff. And that's the easiest way for corruption to happen, is the guy in charge of quality control, for example, was getting paid to approve things that should never have been approved. And so that kind of rot permeated the Russian system. And so, Vladimir Putin, of course, having been a KGB guy, having grown up in all this, should have been aware of this. And, he now, of course, he realizes, I assume, that things are going really badly. And so you start sacking people until you find somebody that can do it, or you have to change the direction of the war somehow to try and regain the momentum. That's going to be very, very difficult for them to do in their system without enormous cost.
Interesting. Okay, I see. Okay, let's pivot to Europe then, because at the same time that these strikes have been happening, Zelensky came to London. He's in London yesterday for an E3 summit. So the E3 is the sort of three major powers, for some reason still considered to be Britain and France and Germany. So I'm a bit critical of British policy making right now. But they set out a statement of 5 conditions for a, quote, just and lasting peace. Now, what's your make of these meetings generally? I don't know if there's anything major new to report from this, other than that it's happening during these ongoing strikes into Russia. Any immediate thoughts to these sorts of or is it more just about demonstrating that continued commitment and resolve in light of Russian attacks, but also American pressure or decoupling?
Well, look, Putin is going to keep doing this until he realizes he cannot win. And a key to him finally realizing that will be when he sees that those 3 countries you just named, the UK, Germany, and France, plus Poland, plus Finland, plus everybody else, commits to Ukraine winning, because that they realize now, especially since the United States has turned its back on Ukraine, or at least I should say this administration has. And Secretary Rubio even said, hey, if somebody else wants it, you can have it, to pick up the negotiations. And so our European allies realize, for their own strategic interests, that Ukraine needs to be successful. And there needs to be an outcome that is sustainable and just, not just some ceasefire that the Russians will violate before the sun goes down. So I think these are useful. They send a message to Russia as well as to the Ukrainians. And, these are sovereign nations. They don't have to sit and wait and hope that the United States is going to come in and solve it, because clearly this administration is not going to do something that would be in the interest of Europe.